You're listening to Inside Commerce, a weekly e-commerce strategy, technology and CX-focused podcast hosted by experienced digital consultants and re-platform specialist James Gedd and Paul Rogers. Get insights into e-commerce strategy and leading brands, hear from industry thought leaders and leading tech vendors with practical advice to help you improve your online CX. This episode is sponsored by Shopify. We are doing our regular key strategic vendor updates. We are doing these every half of the year now, every 6 months. This episode is where we interview the leadership teams from what we consider to be the most important, impactful and growth e-commerce platforms in the global ecosystem, where we get them to tell you where they've been focused in the last 6 months in terms of like strategic areas, product releases and what the relevance to merchants is, key client wins. So which big brands are they brought on? How are they using the platform? And then what's the direction of travel? Where are they headed? What are the areas they're most focused in, whether that's around go-to-market strategy or whether it's around new product releases. These episodes for us are really important. It's not us talking about what we know about the platforms. It's you hearing directly from the leadership teams of those vendors. We have focused for this episode on 7 key vendors. That's not to say there aren't other important and interesting vendors out there. We're talking about the ones that we see demand and interest in the most from all of the merchants we work with, which is predominantly B2C, but also there are B2B merchants in our ecosystem. So the 7 are BigCommerce, Centra, Commerce Layer, Remarkable Commerce, Scayle, Shopify, and Shopline. And we are doing them in alphabetical order. And for those of you watching, you'll notice my myriad of costume changes as we've recorded these over the 2-week period during January, as it's always fun getting everyone's diaries aligned. Hope you enjoy. And if you've got any questions about specific platforms or want to discuss the merits of choosing between different platforms and how you even look at which ones are relevant to your business, do reach out and give us a shout, because both myself and Paul spend a lot of time doing technology selection and have a lot of experience and a lot of scars in this process. Okay, and now let's move on to BigCommerce, and a warm welcome to Michaela Webber. Hi, Michaela, how are you?
Hey, James. Nice to see you.
Yeah, and you too. Thanks for coming on. Do you want to give people a bit of an intro to who you are and what you do, and then we'll crack on with the BigCommerce update?
Sure. I'm Michaela Webber. I'm the Senior Vice President of Strategic Business Development at BigCommerce, and I run our payments business. And for the current period, I'm actually acting as our Interim General Manager for Europe. So here to talk to you a little bit about what we have going on in Europe this year.
Excellent, thanks. And we were laughing before we started recording about you've now officially got the longest job title, I think, in e-commerce, which is an amazing achievement.
Yes, it's definitely a corporate jargon word salad for the moment. Yeah.
Excellent. So really looking forward to this. Always enjoy the BigCommerce updates. So let's start off with key product developments. The last time we spoke to was Mark Adams was back, I think, about the midpoint of last year. So I'd love to hear what are the key strategic developments that have happened in the product roadmap. What's the relevance to your customers?
Sure. So really 2 key themes for us as we look forward to 2025. One is composable commerce, which has been something that we have been very focused on with our customer base. And the other is continuing to innovate for B2B. So I'm not sure if you saw, we were awarded fastest ROI of any B2B e-commerce platform by G2, voted on by our customers. So we're really proud of that continued recognition of BigCommerce as a B2B leader. So the first thing is on Composable, and you probably saw it was actually just this past Monday at NRF. We announced the launch of Catalyst, which is our newest storefront. And Catalyst came about because we were speaking with businesses who are really having challenges with business agility and speed, both to making changes to their website, but also actual site performance. So, and we know that it can be really intimidating to build a composable site entirely from scratch, right? That fully blank sheet of paper can be a bit more of a task than merchants want. They want to understand what is going to be the best performing site for them. So with Catalyst, we looked at our most performant, fastest growing sites, and we look for commonalities in the tech stack. Which partners are present to really help these customers grow? And so Catalyst is coming out from us wanting to make it easier to build faster, more visually stunning sites and have the best parts of Composable, but really giving you a leg up and sort of having that scaffolding in place. So what it is it simplifies composable commerce. It's a pre-integrated front end, and it also has our intuitive visual editor MakeSwift pre-integrated. So MakeSwift is a company we acquired at the end of 2023, and that's really focused to allow brands to have excellent visuals in an easy-to-use manner. So you can have multiplayer site editing, which we know is a real pain point for some of our customers, right? You want the same multiple people working on the site at the same time. And it's really targeted at developers to help launch and build sites and make it easy for brands to edit and maintain. So and then we also have our B2B pre-integrated. So with one click, e-commerce teams can launch headless B2B storefronts, and that's pre-optimized for your B2B buying processes. So it's not just for B2C. Catalyst is also great for B2B customers. So we've got a couple customers already using it: Uplift Desk, Beals, Euro Optic, and since we just launched, a lot of interest and a lot more to come. So it's actually easy to set up in minutes using your BigCommerce dashboard. And you can get more information on it on our website, bigcommerce.com. Or we also have a dev-focused website, catalyst.dev. So we're really excited for that, pre-integrated payment and shipping and tech partners, just a way to get the best of Composable without having to go through the headache of building everything from scratch.
Excellent. Yeah, I've seen quite a lot of chat. So there's a BigCommerce Slack group I'm part of, and there's regular chat around the Catalyst and quite a lot of interest in the developer community specifically around it.
Yeah, no, it's been really, we're really excited with the chat. We presented about it at NRF, so definitely more to come. And the second kind of really interesting launch we've had is around B2B. We have a huge percentage of our customers who they may not be entirely B2B, but they have a B2B component. So you may run a B2C website that's direct to consumer, but then also be selling wholesale or have a B2B component. So it's the launch of our open source buyer portal in B2B edition. And this really allows manufacturers and distributors to take our best-in-class B2B experience in B2B edition and customize it to your use cases. There's so much complexity with B2B businesses. I'm always amazed when we talk to them about their buyer life cycle, purchase processes, different customer personas. So this is really allowing them to simplify and bring their entire buyer life cycle online, from discovery and purchase, managing warranty, managing returns, support, offering quick reorder opportunities. So it allows them to plug in third-party systems and really bring this highly complex process online. So we're really excited about both Catalyst, which is benefiting both B2C and B2B merchants, is bringing a simplification to Composable, and then also our open source buyer portal.
Fantastic. Yeah, the open source buyer portal, I think, is a brilliant move, especially for businesses who have like a bit of extra complexity in how they need to manage like the customer account piece. Really, really interesting. I know a few agencies were very excited when that got landed because they'd previously had demand for it as well. So interesting to see you guys go for strength in B2B. So let's move on to new customers. So I guess this is an interesting one, whether it's completely net new customers you launch or whether it's an existing customer who's launched in a new market or they've launched a new B2B service. Yeah, it'd be interesting for you to pull out a couple of like key names from the last 6 months.
Yeah, so one of the launches we're really excited about is Nextbase. So Nextbase is actually the world's leading dash cam company. So if you've been in a taxi or an Uber, or maybe you've purchased a dash cam, you've actually probably been exposed to them. They have 80% of the UK market. And Nextbase, so their kind of e-com journey is actually, I think, really representative. They initially sold through Currys and Halfords and companies like that. And then the pandemic really spurred them to launch their own D2C website. So the initial website was just a basic content management system with a small e-com plugin. And they're built on Magento 2, and it was really difficult to update and maintain. So their head of e-commerce told us that over 70% of their work was bug fixes and forced upgrades. So they weren't really getting the performance they needed out of the site, and they had a lot of technical debt. So it was really preventing them from having a best-in-class solution. And dash cams have grown a lot as an industry, right? It's become much more popular to be able to keep an eye on other passengers in your car, recording the road if you're in an accident, etc. So they chose BigCommerce. I mean, the key kind of points behind why BC for Nextbase was the SaaS model, which helped to reduce their technical debt and reduce that maintenance load. Easy integration with other apps where they were previously having to build these manual integrations. Our ability to handle traffic spikes when they were doing promotions, especially around Black Friday, things like that. And then quick deployment. So in terms of a tech stack, they're using Klaviyo for customer data management. I know they integrated that in just a few hours versus 3 to 4 months when they were using Magento and doing that integration. They've got Shogun for personalization. They've seen really great results on more targeted content based on customer behavior. And then Weglot. So they actually have launched in 15 languages, and they have new localized sites. And then the pay stack, which is near and dear to my heart. So they've got Stripe, they've got PayPal, they've got Klarna, really ensuring that they've got customers able to pay the way that they want to pay. So overall results for the site have been awesome. We're thrilled. 8 times increase in their overall conversion rate. Their direct consumer sales sometimes exceed Amazon sales now, which is a great result, obviously, from a margin retention perspective. Then their personalization of content, that actually has a 6.34% conversion rate, which is almost 3 times what their non-personalized conversion rate is. So really showing the benefits of having that personalization, and a 23% increase in click-through rates, and then just a reduction in that overall maintenance and kind of technical debt load. So we're super excited to be working with Nextbase, and excited to see the site continue to improve and perform in the next period.
Amazing.
And then the second kind of customer that we have that's pretty fun. Do you have any New Year's resolutions around fitness, James?
Do you know what? I don't, simply because I don't stop, because if I stop getting fit, I'll never get.
Okay. So you don't need a resolution because you never stopped getting fit.
Because I know what I'm like. If I let it go, that's game over, basically. So
Okay.
I know people who fundamentally have, because they broke themselves in December.
Yeah, December was a challenge. Well, I definitely have some fitness related New Year's resolutions. So we've got a new customer in the US, Orange Theory Fitness. So Orange Theory Fitness is a B2B customer. They actually have over 1,300 fitness studios. And this is kind of circuit training where you come and you actually compete on boards on the wall so people can see your heart rate and how you're doing. It's a really fun class. I've done a couple of them. But what they were looking for is a centralized e-com experience or platform to ensure brand consistency. They've got so many different studios. They really needed to streamline their operations around their franchise. And so franchisees have now saved 6,500 purchasing hours annually by moving to BigCommerce and consolidating their B2B site, which frees up a lot of time for operational and customer service improvements and just reduces their overall cost of running the business. So we're really excited to be working with Orange Theory, and hopefully everyone's keeping their fitness New Year's resolutions.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I don't dip off at some point during the year, but
I loved that answer. The confidence of that. I never stopped being fit.
Well, I because I do kickboxing, and
Okay.
if you stop it, then it hurts a lot more.
I'm sure. Yeah, I should take that energy with me into 2025. That if you don't need a resolution if you never stop doing it.
Exactly. Just take up kickboxing and punch people. It's a really rewarding pursuit.
Sounds like a good stress reliever.
Excellent. So let's get on to the final question, which is what's the strategic focus for BigCommerce coming into 2025? Are there particular bucket areas like you teased out last year, like B2B, Catalyst, and Composable? what are the headline areas that you're focused on? And also, I know there's a big strategic event and conference coming up, which will be of interest for people to get there as well.
Yeah, sure. So, continuing, I think, Composable and Catalyst. So continuing to build on the strength of Catalyst, we're working on rolling out more pre-integrated partners for that storefront and that solution. So you'll see us announce more partner integrations that are Catalyst enabled in the coming weeks and months. So that continues to be a real focus because we see the market need for Catalyst, where you're kind of bringing the best parts of Composable, but giving developers a leg up when it comes to having some of this pre-installation. And then the second is B2B. B2B, as you mentioned, has been a top product priority for us. We're committed to delivering industry-leading solutions for manufacturers and distributors. And we see so much demand for allowing B2B customers to simplify, save money on their processes, bring things online. It's kind of a cliche to say that B2B businesses are behind the times when it comes to selling online, but it is really the truth. So we're really working on investing in how do we simplify complex buying processes. So expanding tools to support enterprise buyers who have these really intricate workflows, intricate, multi-layered, multi-step, things like that. And then the complex selling processes. So allowing sales teams to have the right tools for buyer engagement and conversion. The way that B2C sites have been using tech partners for personalization, showing you different site experiences depending on your persona. We're bringing that through on the B2B side. So depending on the type of customer you have, ensuring they've got tailored pricing, certain permissions, the right operational control. So we're releasing B2B multi-company hierarchy this quarter, which really allows large manufacturers and distributors who sell to large organizations that have complex subsidiary structures, just allows them to streamline those processes and really save time and money, which is what a lot of our B2B customers are looking for. They want to bring these complex processes online, simplify, and ultimately get better operational efficiency. And then to preview, so you mentioned we've got an event coming up. So we do have our big summit in Europe. So that is our annual customer and partner event. That's going to happen on April 3rd at Tottenham Stadium. So Tottenham is a BigCommerce customer. We love working with them. As I mentioned, Arsenal fans may need to take a moment before they step into it. But it's a beautiful space. So we'll have almost 1,000 BigCommerce customers, partners. We will have customers on stage. Our leadership team will be talking about product roadmap. So you can find out more on our website, but we'd love to see anyone at Big Summit that may be interested in coming to learn more about BigCommerce, hear more from our customers, and especially hear more about our product roadmap for 2025.
Amazing. I will look forward to being there as well. It was a brilliant event last year. I can highly recommend anyone to go. It's a really good mix. And having the customers there makes it really good conversations as well. So, Michaela, thanks so much for coming on. Really enjoyed listening to that. And I look forward to the next strategic update in April.
Yeah, thanks so much, James.
And for anyone listening who wants to find out more, Michaela's contact details and BigCommerce's contact details are on the landing page for this episode. Feel free to reach out, probe further, and find out a bit more about where they're headed. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Excellent. So now let's chat to Centra and find out what they've been up to. So warm welcome back on the podcast, Martin. How are you?
Hey, I'm excellent. Thanks for having me. Excited to be back on the podcast.
No, I really appreciate you taking time to join us again. I know it's a busy world in vendor land at the start of every year. And do you want to do a quick intro? For those, a lot of people will know you, some listening won't. So do you want to intro yourself to the people who don't know you?
Absolutely. I'm Martin. I'm one of the co-founders of Centra. And as a recap for those of you who don't know Centra is an e-commerce platform. We focus on fashion brands. And we focus on both of the sides of e-commerce, meaning wholesale, B2B, and direct to consumer.
Fantastic. And yeah, check out the fashion roster on their website. There's quite an impressive list of brands using Centra. So Martin, we're going to do the three question strategic update again. It's been 6 months since we drilled in with you at the leadership level.
Time flies.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start on what's happened since last time we spoke was around June time 2024. What's happened since in terms of the product? What have you released? What are some of the key areas you've pushed in? And what are the things that have landed well with merchants?
Yeah, cool. Of course, we're releasing new features all the time, but I think there are a few things that can be interesting to highlight and talk a bit about, and that we're maybe a little bit extra proud of. Let's start in the B2B side of things. So again, Centra, we do direct to consumer e-commerce, normal e-commerce, but we also do B2B e-commerce. A lot of fashion brands sell in both the channels, right? And one of our big releases the past few months has been a completely new B2B storefront. So Centra has been a leader in fashion B2B commerce for a long time, and I think our previous storefront was already quite a favorite. But this new storefront that we'll launch now, it takes everything to the next level. Focus on customer experience, on buyer experience, focus on driving conversion. One challenge you have in fashion B2B commerce is you have very different buying personas that you are catering to. So you have everything from like independent store owners who act almost like B2C buyers, placing, ordering not that much, ordering from their cell phones, almost like a B2C buyer, to like professional buyers at large retail chains who do nothing but place orders all the time. That's their full-time job. And they act in a completely different way. They know all the SKUs by heart. They know all the keyboard shortcuts. They're just typing in orders as quickly as they possibly can. And we've done this new B2B storefront, and we really try to address both of those buying personas and everything in between, and asking, how can we create a CX that really optimizes conversion for all different types of buying personas? And I think we hit it. This is in general availability now. And when we're looking at all the metrics that are coming in, how different buyers are using the new storefront, I think we feel confident to say it's by far the best fashion B2B storefront on the market. Again, focus has been on CX, on UX, on conversion. Also took the time to introduce new features in B2B. We introduced much more flexible shipping terms. So you can offer you can be much more flexible with, some shipments going in one way, other shipments maybe in a different way. Also launch more collaboration tools for multi-user workflows. In B2B, it's pretty common that two people are working on the same shopping cart together, right? It might be an agent and a buyer, or, purchasing manager and a category manager or something like that. So more collaboration in the cart, making B2B process smoother than ever. And again, this is in general availability now. New B2B storefront upgrade is automatic for all Centra clients.
It's really interesting to see actually how B2B is now moving from what I call the first era of ecom, which was a portal for purchasing, to a suite of tools to deliver really good online purchasing experience for the buyers, recognizing that the majority of buyers in B2B now are professionals. They're younger. They're like web native, and they don't just want a really basic product. They want a more sophisticated set of tools.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big shift, and I think a big shift is also the buyers. Actually, it's not only the brands pushing towards digitization to save money essentially, but it's actually the buyers prefer the digital experience. The digital experience, I got to the point that buyers just prefer it.
Yeah, it's interesting as well that a lot of businesses get into B2B selling off the back of having launched their D2D consumer store, and then they pull in some of their trade. I mean, some trade will always be like, will never go direct to an e-com store like EDI based customers. But then you've got this mass of like smaller, medium-sized wholesalers where actually a really polished e-com experience then opens up so many doors to expanding your product selling strategies online.
It really does, right? And when you can do that, then you can actually get into sort of a direct to retail style business model. That means you can really serve those smaller mid-size retailers at scale, because you have the efficiencies there, so you can really do it globally, and it can be a great growth engine. So I think it's cool. We've done updates on the direct-to-consumer side of things as well. I thought I'll mention two things. So on the direct to consumer side, first thing I want to mention, we upgraded our discounting engine. So Centra has always been good at segmentation, and the reason for that, is for a lot of fashion brands, a fairly small share of the customers account for a fairly large share of the revenue, and that means a key revenue driver for brands. Therefore, is to offer the right experience for those clients that really drive a large chunk of the revenue. And that's why there are features in Centra, such as, having secret sale for certain customer segments, the ability to launch, for example, that VIP customers browse a new collection before everyone else, that type of segmentation. What we've done now is we've brought that segmentation logic into our discounting engine. For those of you who don't know, the discounting engine is essentially, it's a really flexible thing. It's like an if this then that rule engine. So you can really construct any type of discounting, any type of discount that you want. And now I've extended that with more rules and linked it into the segmentation. So you can, for example, do discounts. Let's say you want VIP customers to receive exclusive benefits like free shipping or, free premium shipping or gift with purchase, or, just more ways to differentiate the experience between the different segments you have. So big updates coming out there. Also a few other updates to the discounting capabilities. We have introduced some smart tooling to streamline voucher code management for running large micro-influencer campaigns and a few other things, just make it smoother to work with. But big updates there, though they're on general availability, and we see delivering great results already.
Fantastic. Excellent. You said, was there anything else before we get on to the client wins? Anything else you wanted to highlight in terms of key strategic areas you've been focused on?
I can mention one more thing. Maybe it's slightly smaller, but I think it's pretty interesting. And that's around subscriptions. So that's also on the direct to consumer side of things. So you might say about Centra, why subscriptions? Centra is serving predominantly fashion brands. That's a seasonal collections. It doesn't sound like a subscription business. Well, turns out there's a pretty interesting subscription business case for fashion brands, and in particular in essentials like socks or underwear. And there's a fair share of customers, we estimate about around 20%, who are pretty happy to subscribe to especially essentials. So therefore, we built in subscriptions natively into the platform. And essentially, we built it natively. That means it's seamlessly integrated. And that means, it's not a plugin or app or extension or anything like that. It just works natively in the platform. That means you can have subscriptions as an option on the normal product pages, product listing pages, and in the same checkout. And you can check out a cart, which is a combination of subscription products and normal products. And you can also do the upsell from a normal product to a subscription, both on the product page and in the checkout. So you do essentially, it turns out if you offer, for example, socks, and you say, hey, instead of buying this pair of socks, you can subscribe. We send you a new pair every 3 months, and you get a nice discount if you subscribe. There's a fair chunk of the customer base that actually goes for that offer. That's a really, really simple and really nice upsell for a brand. To just get that recurring revenue coming in all the time. If I do it, the key is the product needs to be small. It needs to fit in a mailbox, because people can't. If some big package is sent and they're on vacation, or something, and it's just a hassle, then they cancel the subscription. But just these socks, perfect that fit in the mailbox. Perfect subscription product, and this is a sizable share of the customers that subscribe. What we've done now this has been live for a few years, and now I've released a new version of it. What we've done is essentially we looked at all the reason why customers cancel these subscriptions, and then we have addressed them one by one. And it turns out a key driver for canceling the subscriptions is that you want to do a slight small change to your subscription. And that might be on the customer side. They want to do something like changing the address, changing the size, something like that. Or it can be from the brand side that they have launched a new version of the product. So maybe it's a different material composition or a different country of origin. And in the older version of subscriptions we had, that would mean you need to do a new subscription because something is changes and you need to reauthorize the payments. And we know there's a massive amount of customers that just don't do it. You send them emails to do it, but they just never get it done, right? But now we've upgraded that so you can actually do these small changes and keep the subscription. It might sound like a small update, but we foresee it will drive quite a substantial revenue from brands already offering subscriptions. And we believe all brands should consider offering subscriptions for essentials because it actually works. And this is a chunk of the customer base. Maybe the majority isn't interested in that, but there is a sizable chunk of customers that think that's a really great idea. So I think that's fun to mention. It's sort of a fun revenue driver.
Cool. Excellent. And let's pick out, next question is about key win. Let's pick out the most exciting or well-known brands in recent months that you've won that you're proud of. That'd be really interesting for people to hear.
Sure. I mean, this is a difficult one. I mean, I go lives all the time, right? Brands launching new sites, but I can give you a few of my personal favorites. First, I want to mention Osprey London. Okay. Osprey London is a multi-channel brand, both D2C, wholesales. I think they launched, I think maybe a few months ago, a new flagship website built by an agency called Conran. The goal was to create something that's really inspiring, discovery-driven experience. And I think they nailed it. It's a really beautiful website that tells the brand story in a really nice way. And I think it's a very elegant shopping experience. So that's a favorite. But picking one more, then I like to highlight Holzweiler. Okay. So Holzweiler is it's not a new brand with Centra. They have been with Centra for a long time, but they launched a new website, complete redesign, rethinking what the brand is, rethinking what the website is about. So a new site launched. And Holzweiler is like the acne studio of Norway. And we relaunched the website with an agency called Friend. And I think the result is incredible. I think it combines like really rich on-brand storytelling with a highly shoppable interface. It's both visually stunning, user-friendly. I love that website, and it's fast. So that maybe is worth mentioning as well. I think it's worth checking out. I'll just mention one more. And this would be the Snowboard Asylum. Okay, the Snowboard Asylum is not a typical Centra client because it's not really a fashion brand. It's multi-brand retailer specializing in snowboard gear and apparel and associated products. But then it sort of is a fashion brand because the way it's not your typical multi-brand retailer. It's really, they really built a strong brand identity by curating a very focused assortment. And this new website is designed by LimeSharp. If you visit it, you're so far from a typical multi-brand retail experience. It really feels like you're visiting a strong brand. It's bold, exciting. I think it's must visit for anyone who snowboards.
Amazing, yeah. Some really, really lovely brands launching. I know there's lots more coming as well. So the next time we do this, there'll be some more exciting ones as well. So the final question for today, and everyone loves hearing about this, is like strategic direction of travel for Centra. What are you focused on? And again, we're not trying to get into the weeds because I know you do lots and lots of releases and lots of notes around it. But what are the big strategic areas you're focused on? Is it about like expanding its different verticals? Is it focusing on B2B? Like what could people expect in the first half of this year?
That for us, the focus continues to be to serving fashion brands better and deeper. So we're not looking primarily to expand into different verticals or otherwise change the focus of the business. It's all about driving more revenue for fashion brands and reducing the complexity of operating a fashion brand. And we started Centra back in the day with the idea that it's really complex to operate a global multi-channel fashion brand. Fashion brands tend to be not very large organizations. Most of them are mid-sized, but the complexity of operations of running a global fashion brand with wholesale, with direct-to-consumer, with stores and so on, it's sort of enterprise-level complexity for a small team. So we started Centra with a vision to just, let's make it simple. Let's make a tool that makes it much easier for a small team to run a global fashion business. I can speak about a few features we're working on. I can start with B2B on the whole way, and we focus on both the B2B side and the direct-to-consumer side. We think that the best way to drive sell-through for a fashion brand is really to leverage both channels and run them in parallel. So we're big believers in that. on the B2B side, I mean, I think, maybe I'm sticking my neck out, but I'm fairly convinced and confident when I'm saying that we have already the best B2B fashion experience in the world. We have delivered that. What we're focusing on now is pretty interesting. We started thinking, so how can we expand beyond just the transactional part of the e-commerce? And we thought, what happens in the fashion industry is brands produce something called a lookbook. Okay, and a lookbook, that's sort of a catalog, a nice, expensive printed catalog showcasing maybe an upcoming collection or something like that. And that's sort of the step before. Browsing a lookbook is sort of the step before actually buying something. And then we looked at how is that digitized, and it turns out how that works is a sales rep would send the PDF version of the lookbook to someone as an email attachment, and we thought, this is not so nice, this is not really the nice experience to get some PDF version of this nice print catalog. How can we turn that into an immersive digital experience? So that's something we're working on right now, and we're building and designing right now, but the January release sometime during this year, thinking, bringing more of the B2B buying journey digital and really digitizing it, not the PDF as an email attachment, but like an immersive digital experience. So that's super cool. I think one other thing that is worth mentioning, we are doing a lot on the omnichannel fulfillment side of things. I think Centra is sort of a leader in omnichannel fulfillment, but for us that is really important. That the reason is just fashion brands. Fashion brands typically, it's seasonal products that come in a large range of SKUs, various sizes and so on, and they are spread out in inventory in different stores at DCs and so on. And it's so important to make all of that inventory sellable, because otherwise you end up with a problem towards the end of the season that is sort of, it is in stock somewhere, but you can't sell it because it's in stock. So it's very important to connect. That's like omnichannel fulfillment. That's always been core. We're doing a few improvements there, and that's going to be a theme for the entire year. So first of all, more rules, and by rules I mean essentially the order management system. So which order is going to get routed where, and what are the exact rules for when it ends up where. Also, we bring in much better support for omnichannel gift cards. So I think gift cards has been a core part of Centra for a long time, but really centered around the gift card functionality offered in Centra. And now we want to bring all sorts of gift cards from all sorts of gift card systems globally into Centra. And that means we're launching like a no-code solution for integrating any type of gift card system. So you might have a gift card system in your POS system. You might have some plastic gift card system. You might have a lot of different gift card systems. Now you just bring them in and make that omnichannel. So two big themes there that we're focused on. Number one, on the B2B side, like expanding the buying journey, to the step before actually the transaction. On the direct to consumer side, omnichannel, big focus for us.
Amazing. So just a few areas. As always, I love listening to you, Martin. I love your passion and enthusiasm for the product and for the customers. So anyone who's listening, who's interested in like diving deeper into anything Martin said, but also those areas of capability where Centra is really strong on, Martin's contact details on the landing page, but also feel free to reach out via LinkedIn, and you can always book if you want to see a demo via Centra's website. So Martin, great to chat to you again.
Hey, likewise. Take care.
Right, and now let's talk to Commerce. So Commerce had a really successful 2024. They've landed some marquee brands, and I know that they're busy going into 2025. Really happy to welcome back Seth Bindenagel, who's the VP of Marketing. Hey, Seth, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, James. Thanks for having me back. Always excited to be here with you and have a good conversation. So thanks for inviting us back.
No, I really appreciate you always taking the time this. And, the purpose of this is for us to let the leadership teams of the key vendors, as we're seeing them in the market, really share with our audience where they're headed and what's been happening, rather than us just talking about it all the time. So let's start. The first one, we're gonna do three things: product update, client launches, and strategic focus.
Yep.
Drill into the product update. And we're doing these every 2 quarters now. So it's been 6 months since we last chatted around your core product. So can you talk us through what are the major features that are landed? What's the relevance or benefit to merchants?
Yeah, let's talk about 2 big things. One we're going to announce next week, but all the work is done. And actually, the documentation is live already. But First and foremost, what we'll start with is what we had launched at the end of last year, and it's called Commerce Layer Links. Commerce Layer Links are contextual URLs that bring the entire power of the Commerce Layer API to a checkout experience. And we render them with some stuff we've talked about in the past, some technologies we innovated around that we call our micro front ends. And so with Commerce Layer Links, we are now enabling any merchant who works with us and any merchant who signs up to easily create a link that can be either a micro store, which is a very simplified store with a list of SKUs that you might see, or a checkout link, which is the cart and the checkout experience. And that allows retailers to bring their stock online, even without a website. And by that, we mean if there's new stock that they want to do flash sales on, or if they have an entire sales associate team in the retail space that has stock that they want to move and they use a clienteling experience, maybe something like WhatsApp, they'll often just need to present to their customers a link that does more than just a purchase link. So like you've seen these purchase links from places like Stripe and other places where you can just purchase, and those are great. But what we've done is we've created a link that brings in the entirety of the e-commerce API that we provide. So you have things like quantity, availability, the ability to adjust quantity, the shipping, the tax, the price, and the entire checkout experience. All of the things that you get with e-commerce transactional data can now come forward in a very simplified link. We believe it's the simplest way to start selling online for merchants. It'll expand who we are able to work with. There's large enterprises who are now using Commerce Layer Links in really unique ways. Rafa ended up using our Commerce Layer Links technology around the London Fashion Week, and they had a pop-up store in London where they had 20-year anniversary gear in this beautiful art space in Shoreditch in London. And they had a QR code there that was powered by Commerce Layer. And anybody that could come in, rather than walking out of the store with inventory, could just scan the QR code, buy the quantity of the items that they wanted from the Commerce Layer link, walk out the door, and that item would show up on their doorstep, whenever the shipping went out. So there's some excellent use cases with Commerce Layer links, and we're extremely excited about it because it also opens the door for people to try out Composable before they have to think about an entire digital transformation. There's nothing stopping a Commerce Layer link to work alongside a traditional monolith. So if people want to start to, as enterprises and brands want to start dabbling in, should we go Composable? What does this have to offer? This allows people to try Commerce Layer in a very lightweight, powerful way to bring commerce across any channel, because it's just a URL, right? So the URL that comes forward with the Commerce Layer link can be sent anywhere, right? It can go on any channel, whether it's a clienteling app, email, social media. There's no limitation, but it does give people this opportunity to sort of see what are the possibilities with Commerce Layer without even touching like a massive digital transformation that can cost lots of money and take months to get to. So we're really excited about that. That's our big, massive launch. We'll be putting a lot of effort into that going forward. And then, the second biggest thing that we're launching, and this is incredibly powerful, is a new rules engine. We'll make this announcement next week, so we're sort of previewing it here today for the first time. The documentation is on our website, and we're launching it initially with our promotions, and it's the promotions rules engine. And this will allow our customers to configure incredibly powerful promotion combinations. Not just your standard buy one, get one free and price discounts or percentage discounts. All of that stuff is part of our existing promotions offering. The promotions rules engine will allow retailers, brands to configure any promotion that they want. And so we've seen some really interesting things with some of our customers. We have one customer called Whiteaway, which is the largest white goods distributor in the Nordics, kitchen appliances, things like that. They'll want to do some interesting promotions. We have retailers like Rafa who are using the promotions engine to make sure that they can sell, all the SKUs that relate to a particular color that they might want to do around a campaign. Like maybe they're doing something aligned with the red campaign and they want to sell all of their red gear and they want to do a promotion around that. The promotions engine allows our customers to just configure whatever it is they want with some simple JSON And then we take it from there. And then they can present that on the front end in very unique, clever ways. So we're really excited about that. The underlying engine that drives that promotions engine will be a rules engine that we can apply to other aspects of our API going forward. It's not just something that's tied to the promotions, but you'll see it and everyone will see it launched as the promotions rules engine.
Cool. I really like the links thing as well, because basket rebuilds is a common thing across many platforms, but this goes deeper and it becomes almost like it's like micro selling sites.
Yeah.
And I like that flexibility of use cases across different channels as well, rather than just being a draft order recreation piece for online. So yeah, looking forward to that. And I'm definitely going to have to take this offline with you and explore this a little bit in more detail to understand some of the use.
Some of the things like, a powerful use case, we were talking to one huge global retailer. They want to build an AI chatbot. And they want the AI assistant at their site to be able to answer quickly questions that customers have that lead to immediate purchase experiences. So you might imagine like someone is going to a cocktail party on a Friday night, or they're starting a new job on Monday. And they come in and they say, hey, look, I have, $500 to spend and I want to look good, but I can't spend thousands of dollars. What's a great outfit I could buy for my first day of work? And that AI chatbot will return a commerce layer link that is the purchase, that is the set of SKUs that person can check out with immediately. If they don't like it, fine, they can eliminate one of the things like, I don't like that scarf, so I'm not going to buy that. That micro store that we present to people allows the person to see the availability, the price, if there's any special discounts that have been created. It's really impressive. It's really powerful. And you can imagine it goes in many directions. There's B2B use cases that are very powerful. It's a really cool new feature. We're very excited about it.
Yeah, excellent. Well, let's move on to the second question. What's the major wins? People always like hearing this in the industry. What are some of the kind of marquee or interesting brands that have signed with or launched on Commerce Layer in the last 6 months?
Yeah, in the last 6 months, we've had some tremendous brands come on board. Some of the largest global fashion luxury retailers that still sort of remain unnamed under their requests, but large Italian fashion luxury retailers where even our founders had their beginnings. They've signed up to use Commerce Layer. We've had Salomon, which is a sporting good, outdoor sports, skiing. They signed on with us in Q4. They're about to launch early 2025 with their unified commerce engine. We've had a number of interesting customers go live. One of the ones that we've chatted about a little bit, and I hope to do more of the deep dive with you, is a company called Iwear. Iwear is one of the largest eyeglass retailers in the DACH region. If you're familiar with the brand in the United States called Warby Parker, they're kind of like a Warby Parker. They have really nice boutiques that are on high streets across Europe in the DACH region. You walk in, you find a pair of frames and a pair of lenses, you order them, So you can imagine there's this incredible number of like SKU combinations that come into play. And Eyewear has an amazing website as well, where people can have an in-store experience online, configure the frames that they want, send in their lens prescriptions that they have, and get a set of eyeglasses made. So with partnering with Sanity and Commerce Layer, Eyewear launched what they call their point of everything. And, it's intentionally sort of a different name, but it's meant to say that our orders API, along with the content provided by Sanity, which manages the product catalog, allows them to drive all transactions online and in-store. So they have their entire point of sale system is built on top of the Commerce Layer API. And of course, their entire digital experience. They plan to use Commerce Layer links heavily as well. So they went live with us, and that's probably our most like marquee example, our broadest example of one of our customer who's gone all in with Commerce Layer to build out a truly unified commerce experience. There's no sale that happens for Eyewear that is not driven by our orders API. And then all of those orders stream into our order management system. Because it's the same order API, they have this unified view into everything. And that's why they call it a point of everything. So they've got over 50 different retail locations that are using this system now. And it's been, doing incredibly well through the holidays, everything.
Excellent, really interesting. Thank you. That's another great brand to get on their roster as well. And then the third question is strategic focus for the next 6 months. Where are you guys headed? What's happening in the product or in the business in general? Are there any big changes coming?
Big changes will be built upon this commerce layer links idea that I shared with you. The API is live, and the core product inside the commerce layer dashboard is there. So anybody that wants to create a link using our set of apps that we have inside our dashboard can do so. So inside the SKU app, inside the SKU list app, inside the orders app, inside our dashboard, retailers can log in and create purchase links to use, commerce layer links to use across their digital experiences. We will be building out more, I won't call them consumer experiences. That's not what they are, but we will be building out a more fully contained e-commerce experience on top of the commerce layer links API, where small and medium-sized businesses and enterprises can start to use commerce layer almost like a Shopify. And I know that sounds crazy, but like it's retailers who may not be ready or may not be big enough for a large composable experience, building out a full digital transformation because they have a very simplified website, or honestly, sometimes there's boutiques that don't even have a website, but they want to be able to sell to their customers. So we will be building out and launching a fully contained experience where people can list their products, descriptions, almost like a little mini CMS in there, with commerce layer as the underlying commerce engine. I'll stop there. Won't say much more, but we are going to launch a very different, unique, cool experience that is intended to expand our audience. You know, our large enterprises who are fully into composable, they get a lot of value out of commerce layer today. What we're trying to do is then expand into small and medium-sized enterprises who need the flexibility and power of commerce layer, but need it in an incredibly simplified experience. And the commerce layer links platform will drive that experience. So we'll launch it under actually a separate brand. It'll be a different user experience. It'll be intended for a different audience, and it'll be incredibly powerful. And it'll be something that people use to drive sales, you know, out of their garage if they want to. So it's really exciting. There'll be some really powerful announcements coming up in the next 6 months that will look very different for commerce layer.
Exciting, interesting. Watch this space, everybody. Look, Seth, really appreciate you coming on as always. Always enjoy these update sessions, and I look forward to hopefully getting to more of a deep dive on that unified theme with the Iwear brand. So thanks as always. And if anybody wants to reach out and probe Seth more on these features, functionalities, and where the products head in, links are on the landing page, or just hit up Seth Bindenagel on LinkedIn.
That's the best. Thank you so much, James. It is a pleasure chatting with you. You guys put together such a good programming and have such great insights. So always happy to be here, honored to be here. Look forward to having another conversation in the near term.
Excellent. So let's go on to Remarkable Commerce now, UK's leading e-commerce platform, and a warm welcome back to Brad Houldsworth, who is the strategy director. Hey, Brad, how you doing?
Very good, James. All good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. Appreciate you coming back on the podcast. Always enjoy hearing from you guys and hearing what you're up to. And it's nice I guess it's nice for our audience as well, because it offers like a probably different to some of the other vendors we're talking to. So let's crack on. Like the first question is around key product updates. What are the strategic areas that you've invested in the last 6 months, and what's the relevance to merchants?
Cool. Well, we've had a really busy last 6 months. We're now at nearly 90 staff here in Nottingham. So from a release point of view, I've looked back over the last 6 months and reviewed each of our client roadmaps, what they've been focused on, what we've released. And there were some particular trends, focus in sort of 2 or 3 areas really. So worth saying to begin with though, that although we have a core roadmap for the platform, for our ecom platform, each of our clients has their own kind of distinct roadmap themselves. So what I've done is took a generalized view of all of those. So just to give you an update today on what are the key trends really throughout that. So the first thing I would say is we focused last year a lot within our CMS. So we have a content management system, a module that's baked into our platform, and we've added personalization at a core level within that technology. So I like to say that our CMS as a module is extremely advanced. It's really comprehensive in terms of functionality and features. One thing it was missing though was that ability to personalize and really integrate with more advanced personalization technologies as well. And that connection and integration was a little bit weak. So we've worked really hard on that over the last sort of 6 to 12 months, adding in personalization into our CMS. Our CMS is like a page builder, drag and drop system that's very easy to use, allows merchants to build content pages and content experiences that can be deployed throughout the site, allows them to do that themselves in a very simple way, but also it allows you to add more advanced capabilities in. So there are fields in there for adding your own CSS, fields in there for choosing style options and pre-selecting style options. So allowing almost a developer or a very technically advanced merchant within an e-com or merchandising or marketing team to jump into that CMS module and really have full control without having to talk to a developer or get development resource. So we've added personalization in. That's the kind of first point we've been working on. And that allows customers and merchants to be able to segment customer and also then sync that back into systems like Klaviyo and Bloomreach and many others. We've really deepened those integrations. So that's the first thing. On the back of that, in terms of like integration work, there's sort of 2 further updates. So we've worked on integrating our warehouse management solution, which is a proprietary solution that we own. So it's used by some of our biggest clients and also some of our smaller ones as well. And we've worked on integrations with some really kind of key vendors in the warehouse space, particularly around sort of the automation and robotics side. So we've integrated our WMS with solutions like Breathe, which is an automation solution used by some of the biggest vendors in the UK. A second one I'd shout out is a system called AutoStore. I don't know if you know AutoStore, James. It is one of the biggest robotics solutions in the world, actually. AutoStore is used by some of the biggest retailers, and it essentially is a robotics tool you install into a warehouse, and it takes over both in terms of kind of stock allocation and processing and goods in and goods out. It's a really advanced piece of technology that AutoStore provide. We've integrated really deeply with them. So some of our retailers who have sort of 2, 3, 4 warehouses, they can deploy AutoStore into some of those warehouses and integrate them directly with our warehouse. The third one around warehousing integration is around aggregation of sort of delivery proposition. So Intersoft is a solution we've integrated with before. We've really deepened that integration. And then AutoStop is another solution, a POS system that we've integrated deeply on as well. So really kind of deepening that integration level with our warehouse technology. And the last thing is around integration work, which is one of our key focuses over the last 6 months. So we've integrated with Very for many years, the Very marketplace, which is Blue Jay, I believe it's called. And we've really deepened that integration so that clients are now able to trade through Very, very easily. And that integration is really strong into our own OMS. And then there's 2 others I would call out. So there's a marketing AI tool called Ask Bosco. I'm sure many listeners are familiar. Created by the team up in Leeds called Modo25. Ask Bosco is a really strong AI solution that predicts, forecasts, spend and marketing ROI. So we've deepened that integration. And then the third thing is around gift cards. There's a Netherlands-based company called Fashion Check who have just launched in the UK, and we've created a deep integration with them. So yeah, it's really kind of integration focused, I'd say, our last 6 months, but we've been pretty busy across our nearly 100 sites, 100 brands.
Yeah, I really enjoy, because this is one of the things why I find it interesting to talk to you guys, because you have that core roadmap, but you also have client specific in terms of those development paths. So interesting to see the trends that are coming out of where people are focused the most. So that leads nicely onto our next one. And people always like to hear in the market, like, where are people moving to, which brands are going to which vendors. So do you want to talk us through maybe a couple of the key account wins in the last like 6 to 12 months? Who's come over to Remarkable?
There's quite a few actually. So I'd call out to begin with SGS Engineering. SGS, for anyone familiar, they're power tools, garden supplies. They supply both the trade and consumer as well. So they've got that B2B arm and D2C. A really, really strong established brand in the market. They were previously on Magento for well over 10 years. Started to hit a lot of headaches in terms of agility and really struggled with innovating, both on the front end, but also in the admin as well. They put in a lot of workarounds and a lot of hacks into the admin to just make things work. So we migrated SGS over to Remarkable. I think it was July, maybe August last year, 24. So that really good success story though. They migrated over, and within the first sort of 80, 90 days, within the first 3 months, they saw a 30% uplift in revenue. Conversion rate jumped by 22%. That was the average. It actually jumped much higher on mobile. And they also saw a nice AOV lift as well. So that was the kind of the first impact straight away, and they've had a really successful Q4. About a month later after they launched, we then migrated them over from their warehouse technology over to our WMS as well, which means that they've got a full ecosystem of Remarkable now, integrated nicely with Sage. They've got Adyen PSP, they've got Bloomreach for personalization, and they've got quite a nice stack that they're building up. But they're really seeing some nice benefit in terms of site speed. The site's absolutely rapid. The checkout flow is converting much higher than the Magento checkout used to convert at. So yeah, they're one I'd call out. The second one is a brand called Price Buckland, and they're a Midlands-based school uniform provider, established in the local area here for many schools. I think they've got about 1,000 schools that they supply, so a fairly established brand. Again, another Magento retailer historically. They worked really hard to kind of do certain things, and it was causing a lot of headaches internally for such a kind of established brand. So we migrated them over. They're literally going live. I think this will probably go out as they've gone live. So Price and Buckland, go and have a look at those guys. For them, it's around, they came to us because they wanted real agility that you couldn't really get in other platforms. Anyone who's a parent knows that buying school uniform is like a really begrudged purchase, and you do that with like gritted teeth when you have to spend money that you don't really want to spend on your kid's uniform. So the whole experience is around creating user friendliness, adding in some fun and some gamification into that admin as well, and really just making the parent and the customer enjoy buying from that brand. So that's been a really fun one, and there's loads of ideas and loads on the roadmap that we're going to be doing over the next 6 to 12 months. So I look forward to telling you about that next time. And the third one is a high street Shopify brand. In fact, brands, they're a group of 3 brands, around 35 mil turnover as a group between the 3 brands. We've been working with them really closely actually over the last several months, helping them just from a technology architecture point of view, understanding what the challenges are. So this kind of leads into our service kind of element of the business. So as a development house, we offer development services outside of the Remarkable ecosystem. We've done that behind the scenes for quite a while, actually. But this particular brand, I can't unfortunately say who they are today, but I think we'll be able to put out a case study soon. We've really allowed them to take it up a level in terms of revenue and trading capability. So yeah, more on that soon, I guess.
Oh, that's a tease, isn't it? Here's something I can't tell you. And that's interesting. And I think it's a really smart play from you guys as well to do that, because people aren't always ready to move core technology, but often architectural decisions can help them get better out of their current stack, future-proof, but then you build a relationship for the long term as well, which is great. So yeah, interesting to see that. And let's go on to our final question, which is like where you're headed now. Let's focus in on your core roadmap rather than the customer-centric ones. Sure. What is Remarkable focused on for the next 6 months? Like, what are the key strategic areas in the product that you're developing?
So, I mean, as always, we listen to the industry and we listen to clients, and then we have also our own view on what we're trying to do here. And we kind of merge all of that insight into the roadmap of what the business is moving towards. And we have a vision of the business, and the technology plays kind of half of that. And then the service element pays the other half, really. I mean, the key trends that in the industry that I've been really recognizing over the last sort of many years, actually. So firstly, around video content, and this plays into some of the technology stuff that we're doing. So obviously the rise of things like TikTok Shop and overall just video usage on many brands has been a real increase over the last 6 to 12 months. Interesting to see what the imminent TikTok ban what impact that'll make. But yeah, in terms of video content, we've been focusing a lot on the processing of that of those assets. So, you know, when you think about a CDP, for example, when you upload assets such as video or images to them, what is the processing behind the scenes? And what does the, almost like from a DAM point of view, you know, that kind of really advanced capabilities in terms of when you upload an asset, what happens to it? How does it get processed? What's the output? How can it be used? How can it be stored? The technology side of it, we're focusing on from an architecture view. How do we store that asset? How does it get deployed across different parts of the site? And really kind of our view of having an asset that can be globally used rather than only in certain areas. So that's one thing, one trend, and the kind of consequence of it. The other trend I've seen, obviously, Gen AI. Hard to ignore AI in our world, but the Gen AI content piece. So such as taking review content and summarizing it, something that Amazon released, I think it was middle of last year, they started to do this where they aggregated review content, summarized it using AI into a generated paragraph of text, which then kind of summarizes all that reviewed content. We've started to do that in the platform natively so that we retrieve, regardless of the review system being used, whether that be Yotpo, reviews, FIFO, Trustpilot, etc. We combine, we collate and combine and then aggregate and summarize that content, which is quite cool. Also, the kind of FAQ and Q&A stuff that the customer receives on the front end, we've started to look into that Gen AI content stuff. Yeah, so that's the kind of that stuff. So technology-wise, if I go just a bit deeper on the technology, really continuing down that path of using MongoDB instead of a kind of SQL database structure. This kind of innovation is really born from the fact of us looking at technology agnostically, regardless of platform, even regardless of that ecosystem that a brand uses of technology, but what type of data needs to be stored and what access needs to be granted to it. And we found that MongoDB and just general NoSQL database structures is a really a good way for us to kind of store that data and architect the platform. So as we kind of look at future revisions of the admin and the platform, we're continuing down that MongoDB route. The other update from a technology point of view is around our middleware. So this is one of our kind of key priorities on the roadmap over the coming sort of 6 to 12 months is around our own middleware solution. We've built, and I think this is something we've always actually been really good at over the last 25 years of the business. We're really good at writing technology that glues systems together. So, and we're kind of productizing that a little bit with our middleware solution. We're building out an API importer. What that allows brands to do is connect third-party APIs to our middleware so that they can actually import multiple data sources. That allows brands, if you're a brand that you sell, if you're a retailer that you sell multiple brands, let's say you've got 50 brands you sell, often those brands will be sending you product data or catalog data in lots of formats, usually through an API. What our system, our middleware allows you to do is connect any format of API into our middleware. We then process it, understand it, and then pass it into the platform through the API. So that middleware piece that sits in the middle is something we're really proud of, and there's lots of use cases for it already. particularly around the importer piece, where it imports different formats of APIs automatically, regardless of API type, and allows you to push data into the platform really easily. That's the technology side. And the obviously the other side of the business, just quickly around the agency services side of the business. So as I mentioned, we've got nearly 90 staff now based in Remarkable, and we're just continuing that work outside of our own ecosystem, really. And it's something we've done behind closed doors for quite a while, but it's something actually that we've seen a lot of increase in. So brands are coming to us asking for help. They're coming to us asking for our dev services, or at least us as technology auditors to come in and look at what's going wrong, where the gaps are, where the opportunities are, and quickly understand the challenges, but also have the manpower to be able to resolve those as an agency. So not just create a report of problems, but also have the people be able to actually resolve that very, very quickly. So not really a priority for us, but I see that as increasing as a service over the next 6 to 12 months. I think that'll push us up to like the 100 people mark over the next 12 months as we kind of offer that agnostic development service, regardless of the technology ecosystem that a brand has. So yeah, quite a lot, I think, over the next 6 to 12 months.
So yeah, quite 6 months for you.
Yeah. Let's put our feet up, I guess.
I think it's really interesting to see where vendors like yourselves are getting on the AI thing, because I think last year the industry kind of basically lost its shit with AI over excitement, right? And now we're seeing the practicality of it coming through, and it's not just around the trade-in thing. Around operational efficiency seems like a really good focus area in 2025. So yeah, really, really keen to see when you start landing these as well. Interesting.
Yeah, nice.
And look, Brad, thanks as always for joining us. Really enjoyed that. If anybody wants to reach out and probe a bit more, either about the platform and the capabilities, or about those technology services, then Brad's contact details are linked on the landing page. And look forward to the next one, sir.
Nice one. Cheers, James. Appreciate it.
Excellent. And now we're going to speak to Scayle Commerce Engine, who've been making a lot of headway in the UK market. They've got strong heritage elsewhere in Europe, specifically in Germany. And a warm welcome to Gurpreet Kaur. Your first time in the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Nice to meet you as well, James.
Cool. Do you want to, because previously we had Craig Smith, who was doing these. So do you want to give people an introduction to who you are and what you do at Scayle? That'd be really useful.
Sure. So I joined Scayle about 6 months ago. I lead the product marketing function, so I'm head of product marketing. And just a bit of background, I've been in the e-commerce space about 10 years. I came from Demandware through to Salesforce and now at Scayle. So that's just a little background on me.
Excellent. So thanks. Let's get into these questions then. So it's been a good few months since we last spoke to the team at Scayle. So it'd be really useful to hear about last 6 months, what's been happening, what are the kind of the key strategic product areas that you've released in or been working on?
Yeah, so I think you spoke to Craig last time, last year, and we delivered on some of the key product initiatives that he was talking about. And we're continuing to develop our modern architecture, so continuously adding more features, enhancements, and optimizations. One of the key advantages of our platform is actually our unified user interface, because across the entirety of our commerce capabilities, you can basically access all of the different modules. So we've been continuing to invest there by supporting more configurations, better navigation, the overall performance of that. And then last time you spoke to Craig, you also spoke just before we launched our Enterprise Evolutions Part 1, or version 1, shall I say, last April. And there what we were really focused on is the release of some modules, or just showcasing them to everyone, because we have this great technology that people didn't really know about. So hyper-personalisation is a key topic, omni-channel, this type of stuff. So we wanted to provide that seamless experience across different channels for our customers. So we really started developing the omni-channel capabilities, and they're all delivered native, integrated, out of the box, and available through that panel for retailers. And what that means is it drives that traffic, it helps to streamline inventory, and just make it a better experience, seamless for your customers. And then further developing on that hyper-personalization element, we also added more configurability to our platform. So retailers can now create more personalized and dynamic promotions that cater to specific customer segments or behaviors. And this means that they're not only attracting new customers, but retailers can drive repeat purchases and increase the basket size, which we would all know. And then Craig also mentioned subscriptions. So we recently launched a robust subscriptions feature. This has been particularly impactful for optical retailers of ours, customers like Mr. Specs and Fielmann, who's one of the largest opticians in Europe. And with that feature, customers can subscribe to product variants such as contact lenses and receive them basically on a regular basis, weekly, monthly at intervals that are tailored to whatever they want. And as we know, subscriptions do generate predictable recurring revenue for retailers. And that's a major advantage in today's market, right? So everyone wants that recurring revenue. And for our customers, or for their customers, it's about convenience, cost savings, and then no longer having to reorder manually. The other piece is around retailers can actually launch those subscriptions in minutes, and they can use the built-in tools that we have at Scayle to manage both the subscriptions and one-off purchases seamlessly in one single basket. And they can also define the different products that are eligible for subscriptions and set the tailored intervals and customize all of that as well. And then combine promotions to product-specific promotions with the subscription. For example, if you order monthly, you will get this discount. If you order quarterly, you will get this discount. So that type of thing. And then just a couple of other things we've made, developments in the widening of our ecosystem, with better integration and feature extensions, as well as improving the developer experience by redesigning our resource center. And then finally, we've really been further optimizing our technology stack with global hosting, multi-tenancy. All of our clients are on this latest modern stack of technology that's available at Scayle.
Excellent, interesting. Yeah, subscriptions is a fun area, and I find it really interesting to see which vendors are building out native versus which are focusing on third-party integrations and delivering functionality. So interesting to see your product develop there. Thank you. Which leads me on to the next question. So last time when Craig was on, there was a lot of buzz around the Man United win. That I know, but I think that really obviously helped people better understand and get visibility of where Scayle's headed in the UK.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through what's been happening since then? Any major new launches, or whether that's existing customers expanding internationally or new client wins?
Yeah, I think there's a couple I could focus on here. I mean, with Man United, I think Craig, at that point, we just signed. So we've had a couple of impressive go-lives, signs and go-lives by that time, especially in the UK. We've had Harrods and Man United, which I can quickly touch upon here. So both of those were on time, in scope, within budget, and within around about the 6-month mark. And although that seems like a long time, in enterprise where we've gone for storefront, PIM, shop management, search, order management, all of that, that's actually really, really unique. So it's quite unheard of in the industry to go live in 6 months with all of that feature and functionality. So if I start with Man United, they're one of the world's largest football brands. We all know that. And for them, this project was one of the largest, most complex tech projects that they've actually taken on at the club. They've said this themselves. They brought their e-commerce business in-house by partnering with Scayle. And when we last spoke, as I mentioned, the deal had just been signed and they went live in September to provide a world-class experience for their 1.1 billion fans. And what they wanted was an intuitive site with a simple checkout experience. They went live with all the capabilities I just mentioned, and they're using us to improve the speed and reliability of their tech stack. So the capability to support millions of visitors to their site without really compromising on the experience is really key here. And they it's really key for them to be able to have that stability, because if you think about when they sign a new player or there's a really big match on, or I'm not very much into sports, so I shouldn't really say that, but when there's a big competition on, for example, they've got an influx of visitors that are coming to their site, so they really want to keep those transactions smooth and secure. And they also want to provide that consistency, but like a localized experience, no matter where their customers are in the world. So there's the internationalization element that Scayle is really, really great at, being able to select different languages and currencies, but being able to manage all of the different assortments and all of that from one place on one panel. So there's that enterprise complexity that they've used us for. And then they've added new merchandise categories from before, as well as improved their fulfillment and product availability too. And then if we think about some of the more advanced features, things like make your own shirts or personalization of your shirt. You can shop by player as well. And then we've also just had like faster load times, mobile first experience, all the usual stuff. So since they went live, they've also said that they achieved the best Black Friday results of any team, any football team, by a significant margin after onboarding with Scayle. So, that's really great. And we're really hoping that this partnership continues to unlock that greater revenue growth for Manchester United. And we continue to build our relationship with them and innovate with them as well.
Excellent. And the final question is always direction of travel, strategic focus. What is Scayle looking at in the first 6 months a year? What are the areas of the platform that you're going to be focusing on, or is it around new markets that you're trying to target with the solution?
Yeah, and sorry, just to finish off on the last one as well, Harrods was a massive launch that we also did very similarly around 6 months with all of that functionality. So that's another one to check out. We've got a customer story on that on our website to just, for anyone listening, it was a major launch, a major new customer as well. Innovation. So we are going to be doing quite a big thing, another enterprise evolutions around May time. So I don't want to reveal too much. But we're looking at how we can optimize, extend, engage, and convert. So these are the sort of topics that we're going to be looking at. There's going to be quite some big developments in sort of storefront and checkout. Our panel continues to be like a centerpiece on this as well. And we're continuing to make improvements in our tech that impact things like latency and throughput, maintainability, and the ability to just develop things more quickly and reliably on the platform. So we're always making enhancements just across the entire platform. But I don't want to give too much away about where we're going to be innovating. But yeah, there's going to be a big thing coming I'm working on at the moment in April, May time.
Excellent. There's a nice tease to get everybody to keep their ears and eyes open for when that lands. And I'm sure we'll be having a keen conversation with you and the team as well to better understand it and what that means for the product even direction.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks so much for coming on, and thanks for appearing on the first time on the podcast. We'll, for anyone listening who might want to find out more about this latest enterprise editions piece, obviously it can't be disclosed publicly, but if there is interest and you want to find out more, we've left contact details on the landing page. Feel free to reach out to Gurpreet, and I'm sure she'll be happy to kind of talk to you a bit more about that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
What do Mattel, Victoria Beckham, Sennheiser, and Glossier all have in common? They power their businesses with Shopify. Shopify is the most innovative and scaled commerce platform on the planet. It also happens to have the best converting checkout on the planet. Shopify, powering the future of enterprise commerce. Find out more at shopify.com/enterprise.
Excellent. So let's now chat to Shopify, who've had a very, very busy year in 2024 and will continue to be so in 2025. And I'm delighted to welcome back Emilie Benoit-Vernay, who's the Director of EMEA Partnerships. Happy New Year, Emilie.
Happy New Year, James. Happy to be here with you today.
Yeah, thanks so much again for taking the time. I know it's been a very busy year. You dropped the last editions just before Christmas, which generated a lot of buzz in the industry, as it always does. So let's go and let's take that strategic lens, and we'll start with the product update. It'd be really good if you could pick out like the major features that Shopify's landed, like what's the relevance and benefit, and maybe a bit of like why the focus in that area.
Sure, my pleasure. So, every 6 months, Shopify releases Shopify editions with a set of new features and innovation. This edition was a bit different in the sense that, at Shopify, we take our responsibility to building great quality software very seriously, as we have millions of businesses that use our platform and technology. And for this edition specifically, we decided to make it all about polishing our current solutions, optimizing performance, and making sure that every facet of Shopify works well together so the merchants can really propel their business forward. If I highlight a couple of those features or optimization to you, actually I chose 5 of them. And the first one is around smoother in-person selling. So we introduced Shopify POS for bundles. We also launched a split screen selling so that on the POS, you can either have a search going on while you're still have visibility on the cart. We introduced meta fields for POS, leveraging first-party data to create more relevant and efficient marketing communications. The second area that we worked on is unified customer accounts. The best customer journey always begins with a simple login. And to enable that to happen, we have launched our new customer account extensions that offers a unified experience across platforms and that are fully controlled by merchants, powered by high-quality apps. So what does it allow you to do? You can have seamless order and return management for the customers to manage all aspects of their orders via a unified account, via a passwordless login. With this, you can also build better customer relationships. You can use apps like survey apps, like Zigpoll, for instance, to collect direct feedback and opinions. You can also personalize the customer experience by building personalized experience directly into the customer account pages in minutes with no code. That results in a seamless branded experience to remove any type of friction and drive more sales. And last but not least, with those customer account extensions, you can leverage them for our B2B functionality, where you're going to be able to build a customized experience for wholesale customers with self-serve functionality for quotes, invoicing, bulk ordering, and even B2B storefronts. A third area, very in the spirit of today's time, is that we have more AI-powered commerce tools. I'll just mention one here today is on the area of semantic search. We have now made it available in all languages. So the customers of the merchants, wherever they live in the world or whatever language they speak, they can actually type in I want, or in French, je veux un manteau pour l'hiver. Then I want a winter coat. And then that really propelled more sales for the merchants. The fourth area, which was a very important one to us, especially in the region, is that we have expanded payment methods and automating taxes. As you may know, Klarna was already available via Shopify payments in Germany, Austria, and Sweden. And now Klarna is available to merchants using Shopify payments in the Netherlands, UK, Spain, and Italy. And every merchant who sells in or to the European Union and the United Kingdom can now use Shopify Tax, which gives you automated VAT calculations, liability tracking, and invoicing. Shopify Tax has been designed to help merchants remain compliant throughout their process. Last but not least, the fifth one is Shopify Checkout. It's even better. We have optimized our cart infrastructure to boost load speeds by up to 50%. And we've made checkout blocks available to all plans. So you can customize now thank you pages and integrated chat apps into the checkout. We have improved draft orders by enhancing features such as checkout customization,
bundle options for B2B, and function supports. Check out rules and payments and delivery customization powered by Shopify functions cannot be executed in draft orders. That's it in a nutshell, James.
A rather large nutshell as well. No thanks. There's a lot in there that's interesting, but the one that I think that's going to resonate with a lot of people is the customization capability and personalization, because myself and Paul were talking about this, about how loyalty is going to become more and more strategic, and it's going to be underpinned by smarter data collection and value propositions. And the My Account is an area that's been underutilized by so many e-commerce brands historically, and having the control and flexibility to customize, personalize, extend it is going to become so important this year.
Agreed. It's all about the customer experience.
Yeah, it is. So that's really good news. And actually, I've been working on a project at the moment where some of the customization elements we're starting to do in the My Account area, which is good. So let's move on to new client launches. Everyone loves to hear about this. Like, what are some of the marquee brands you've landed? Could you pick out one or two and maybe talk about like what it is that they're using the platform for?
Sure. So first, I'd love to talk about the Conran shop, home and living brand, symbolic of luxury and refined craftsmanship. They have a very strong emphasis on quality and seamless customer journey. So they reached a point that they really wanted to deploy a commerce platform that could empower their commitment to efficiency without compromising their signature style. So they had a mindset of reducing complexity, reducing costs, reducing efforts, and they have replatformed to Shopify. They started to see improvements instantly alongside cost and time reduction. And I guess the best part is that customers also noticed a difference as they started to comment on the ease of use of the new site and the simple means of navigating it. In its drive to adopt a unified commerce model, the Conran shop also deployed a Shopify POS in its stores. And because B2B also became a critical part of their strategic plans, they have launched a dedicated B2B website in September 2024 where UK customers can purchase directly. And they definitely plan to expand this and roll it out to other markets in the future. And now the stats, since moving to Shopify, the Conran shop has achieved 50% reduction in total cost of ownership, 54% increase in conversion rates, and 24% increase in email marketing revenue. So by really rethinking their commerce operation, they were able to improve the business and definitely improve the customer experience. The second brand, if you'll allow me, I wanted to showcase here today is Astrid and Miyu. So Astrid and Miyu is a jewelry brand that has always been inspired by global travels and local artistry, and they wanted to create very engaging experience for their customers. They've always been strong believers that you should integrate online and offline sales. So they adopted a truly unified commerce approach to have a unified view of their inventory, flexible order options, and grow their customer loyalty. As they were online first, they've been able to achieve this through the adoption of Shopify POS in their stores, enabling the staff to get real-time access to in-store data across multiple locations, offer customers a great experience, and create personalized marketing activations globally. By adopting this approach, this unified commerce approach, it has delivered great results for them as they've seen a 40% higher lifetime value among repurchasing customers who shop omnichannel versus just online.
Oh, nice examples. And I worked with the Conran shop a long time ago when I was agency side. And I always thought to say, always had a really quite incredible product range. But yes, the user journeys and the navigation wasn't always the simplest. So it's quite interesting to see them having gone from legacy into SaaS as well. It's a brand where I can obsessively look around the website for ages and look at all of the tables that I won't end up for my front room. Cool. So let's go on to the final question then, which is, the strategic focus for the next 6 months. We're going to do these twice a year now. So we'd love to know there's like the future gaze and what is Shopify focused on? What are the key like bucket areas that you're interested in this year?
So definitely, and actually the examples I just shared with you are consistent with this focus for Shopify is this unified commerce piece. 60% of shopping experiences begin and end on separate surfaces. So I think today all retailers are already convinced of the need to have one platform for all their sales channel. There's a real distinction between omnichannel, where you're focusing on creating consistency on the front end of your business. That is what the customers are seeing, and unified commerce. Because unified commerce, you're actually taking the strategy a bit further by unifying the back-end systems of your business and bringing all your data into a single centralized platform. So that means that, you can, for instance, reconcile incomplete, conflicting, duplicated customer data across multiple systems. You have one single source of truth for your customer base, one source of truth for your stock. It's very critical today because, as we know, and as we're really happy about, brick and mortar is not going away. 68% of consumers in the UK have said that a brick and mortar presence continues to be as important or even more this year than last year. And we know the consumer nowadays, they demand a convenient shopping experience that is starting in a flagship brick and mortar that can continue on the smartphone. Like, it's becoming extremely fluid. And actually, nearly 2/3, 65% of UK shoppers said it's important that brands offer seamless experience online and offline. We have some research coming out that also tells us that 38% of the shoppers are telling us they expect click and collect as part of the in-store experience. And for this to be successful, you need to have this unified backend so the business can operate very efficiently. Barriers between online and offline are completely crumbling, and we should not just be focusing on merchants should not be focusing on just the multi-channel or omni-channel, but really the unified commerce approach to be successful. As this was demonstrated with the Conran shop and Astrid and Miyu, who actually made it seamless for their shoppers to interact with their brands, and so great success.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think me and Paul talk a lot about this, the democratization of technology is that the costs and the time to go to market for achieving some of what was previously only enterprise space has come down so much that more brands in the SME space are thinking this through because they see what big in the UK, for example, a massive department store retailer like Next is huge and therefore has massive investment in technology. Previously, a lot of SMEs would just go, we can't do this. Whereas now, if they make the right technology decisions and get the right middlewares and process in place in niche, they can. So yeah, really interesting to hear that that's an area that you're focusing on heavily.
Yep, agreed.
Well, wonderful. Thanks so much for coming on. I know that people listening will find it really interesting as well. If anyone wants to reach out to Emilie and find out a bit more about where Shopify's focus, or even to get connections to dive deeper into all of the contact details are on our landing page and will be on LinkedIn when we post about it. Thanks as always, Emilie. Lovely to speak to you again.
Yeah, lovely to speak to you too. Thanks.
Take care. Excellent. So now let's talk to Shopline. And Shopline have also been busy in UK and Europe. They're bringing on some interesting brands to their portfolio, and really happy to have Tech Director James Cowie join us today. Hey, James, how are you?
Hey, I'm really good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. This is your first time on the pod doing these things. So before we get into the questions about Shopline, do you want to give our listeners a bit of a flavour for who you are and what you do?
Definitely. So I'm a technologist by heart. So in my role as tech director, I've been many facets of many different businesses. So I cut my teeth doing the Magento, if we're allowed to say the Magento word these days. Really enjoyed being part of the Magento 2 evolution. Been agency side for probably the majority of my career, which has spanned 20 years and worked on everything from the very large in the Middle East to the very small niche sites. And for me, I love bringing technology and technical solutions to the business world and really see that come to life.
Excellent. Nice intro. Thank you. Which segues us on neatly into the first question. So, what's been happening? Let's say like the second half of last year and going into Q1 of this year. What are the big areas that Shopline's been focused on in its product? What have you landed at? And what's the reason? Like, what have the merchants been clamoring for?
Definitely. So we had a real focus last year on B2B. So we had 3 tenets to what we were strategically focused on. The first one was B2B. We noticed that there is a gap in the marketplace for a really solid B2B solution, one that isn't just B2B like, because anyone can bolt on a bit of B2B, like a company metafield to a customer and say, hey, we do B2B. We wanted to reimagine how B2B actually existed. So take some of the learnings from B2C and bring that into the B2B world. So what I always like to say to people is that B2B, I personally feel, is about 10 years behind where B2C is. It's still old ways of working. You've got your file of fax, your telephone. So we brought all of that onto our platform and we built it from the ground up so that you can use many parts of our ecosystem, from the CMS editor to the designer to the template builder. So we wanted to make B2B as optimal as possible for our end users, convert the sales, create a trustable and reliable solution. The second tenet that we started to explore, it was always one of our core tenets of the platform, but we doubled down on social media and social selling. The likes of TikTok, even though it's gone a bit controversial at the moment in the States, has been one of our biggest avenues to growth. Some of the retailers that we've got around Asia and in the USA were live streaming and making just so many views and impressions. Where we double down on it, though, is instead of just having TikTok Shop as a bolt-on so that you went to TikTok Shop, it fired some APIs over, it was a bit of a lackluster solution. What we wanted to do is make it paramount to our platform so that we can import the orders. We can also interact and talk to our customers via that. So the great example is if you're on Facebook and you start to interact with our posts, that information starts to enrich the customer inside of Shopline. So we can start to see that James has maybe liked one of the products that we've put on the live stream. I can then target him in a segmentation group and do some really cool and really fancy data algorithms to work out what you can sell to these people and create trust. Because what we saw at the end of last year was a lack of trust on e-commerce. People were a little bit more about the brand itself versus exploring new avenues to market. So we wanted to make it so that the trust experience was paramount in social selling. And the third part was all about optimization. Nobody's got time to do anything these days. It seems like our workloads are going through the roof, but the hours in the day are going down. So we really wanted to make all of our operations automated. So when you're creating products, we've got the buzzword AI in there that can start to generate information about you, can enrich your data. So we thought the B2B, the social selling, and the automation to make operational efficiency were the 3 bits that landed for us. And some of the tools that we released, especially around the operational efficiency, making our theme builder multi-market aware so that you don't have to build 3 different themes if you're selling 3 different regions. And that made it easier. It made it so that your technical debt wasn't overly burdenous. You can see at a really user level what overrides of each component are being made, what aren't being made. The B2B was just phenomenal. And then the social media selling really helped so that you could build that communication, that trust, and really start to target customers.
Cool. Yeah, it's interesting how many people are now taking B2B a bit more seriously as well, because it's one of the big growth areas in investment.
It is, and no one touched as well. We interviewed 10 of the bigger B2B retailers around the UK and Europe, and the amount of people that still use spreadsheets to manage inventory on a B2B level, that have got their Outlook contact list. That's their customer database. Like, wow, how are you making hundreds of millions online with a spreadsheet and a contact list?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this evolves at the platform level this year specifically. Okay, so let's move on to merchant successes. And this is something that every time me and Paul talk to people, everyone wants to know who's moving where, why, what they're choosing. So do you want to pick out a few of the key project wins? And I don't want to steal the thunder too much, but the one that got my interest the most, which was in Q4, I think it was Denby Pottery, which is an iconic British brand. A lot of people know about it. A lot of people probably have Denby in their home. So if you could expand a bit more on that and any other ones that you want to showcase that kind of probably show what Shopline's capable of doing.
Oh, definitely. So, I mean, Denby's the one that I'm most proud of. It's everybody knows Denby. When you go to the Christmas dinner, like we just did a few weeks ago, and everyone's asking, "Oh, so how's work going?" It's like, well, we just landed Denby. And then all of a sudden, my mum brings out the Denby plates, and it's like, hey, that was quite cool. And that was the great one for us. And the reason they moved to us is because they were on an older platform. It was making it limiting for them to make changes. There was a lot of bugs, a lot of technical burden that had to go into that. We showcased to them how utilizing our native platform with very few plugins could open up new markets to them. It could make their team more efficient, and it could allow them to tell a story that they've never been able to tell before. Because everybody, like you say, everyone knows Denby. But why do you know Denby? Like, it was an older generation that first knew about it. This new generation that's coming in, like my son's just gone to university and he's already starting to plan his Denby collection for when he gets his first apartment or house. And what Denby realized is they now need to start talking to these new generations, and having an e-commerce platform that literally sells plates and bowls online wasn't going to do it for them. They wanted to be able to tell a Denby story, really take you to the heart of their homeland and explain like what is a product. And they do that via social media, user-generated content. So leveraging our Instagram plugins, our UGC content. They also wanted to use our native page builder so that they didn't need to be web developers. They didn't need to know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. They wanted to utilize part of our, I think, 400 advanced UI components so that they could create hero banners with a really compelling story to tell. And they really wanted to lower their total cost of ownership. Their old platform was a partially self-hosted solution. There was a lot of integration layer, a lot of additional plugins that they needed for tax, for user-generated content, for payments. So by all of that coming into the Shopline experience and being inside of one admin, they found that they could do so much more than they could on any other platform.
Yeah, it's a nice story. And it's a common challenge for heritage brands, how they retain relevance across like younger generations, because you're right, you don't grow up when you're in your like 20s now. That generation didn't grow up with Denby. It wasn't a thing for them. So making it sound like it's not old and outdated it's definitely a challenge in terms of content. So yeah, interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing that story evolve. Any other projects that you particularly love or have like helped you guys, I guess, to tell your story better?
One that I really like, and this just went live before Christmas, was Avantcha Tea. So they're a Middle Eastern brand. Shocked me because I thought there was one type of tea, and that was Tetley's, that you put in a tea, like the tea bag, he goes in the mug. Apparently there's a lot more tea than that. And the reason that I like Avantcha Tea is that they came from WooCommerce, which is a good platform, doing the job for them, but they wanted something so that they could go international, that could do true multi-language, true multi-store, and reduce the tech burden on them. They didn't want to have multiple different instances of the websites. And they're serving everywhere from Switzerland to Kuwait to Dubai and beyond. And they really did push our multi-market to the limits, where they can create these really attractive looking front-end websites that detect where the users are. There's got the complex shipping rules. So in Dubai, you can actually get same hour delivery. And they wanted to be able to modify our checkout to say, if I'm in one of the buildings or one of the provinces in Dubai that actually does same hour shipping, how can we do that? No other platform without a plugin such as ShipStation or Shipper HQ could actually do that. And they really did like take the most of all of our platform, the true multi-language, the UI components to create a really engaging story. So when you look at some of the homepage banners, it's got the calls to action, the little heat maps that show, here's the tea, here's the mug, here's the apparatus that you need. Their sales have literally gone through the roof from going live. And the feedback from Karim and his development team has just been phenomenal. They've been able to build what they believed was impossible with very little overhead of code.
And are you now like officially banned from drinking other tea brands?
Definitely. I think if Karim catches me out PG tips, he'll come over and kill me.
Excellent. Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't know about that one. That's cool. That's why I love doing these episodes, find out all these additional, because it's impossible to stay on top of every single merchant move across every single vendor. There are so many. Cool. So let's go to our final question on this update, which is like direction of travel and where is Shopline focus? Just give us a bit of a flavor of what's going to be like a priority for you guys through the first half of 2025, whether that's go-to-market stuff and verticals you're targeting, or whether it's like product development.
Yeah, so we're going to focus for the first part of this year on fashion as our core vertical. We really want to be known as one of the fast fashion brands because it's easy to do a little bit of it, but to actually look and feel about what do fashion brands need or fast fashion brands need to be successful. We spoke to a client last week. They've got a 40% return rate. So it's how do we build our platform so that we can try and help reduce that return rate? And that's by integrating some of the market leaders in there, the true fit, so that you can work out what sizes you are. We're working on some integrations that allow you to do the visual 3D modeling, the augmented reality, so that if you're going to buy a pair of glasses, you can get your phone out, you can snap it. So we're looking at all the tools that are actually going to help fashion brands lower their total cost of ownership so that they don't need 1,000,001 plugins, but really focus on what fashion needs. And that's how you tell the story, how you sell the products, how you make the return rate lower. And then we're starting to build out some features that allow the internationalization of that brand. So I hinted a little bit upon the theme builder that we've been working on. One of the two aspects that I'm really proud of, and I cannot wait to see go live, are our theme 3.0. So we've actually redeveloped our templating language. We're fast as it is. Why you're going to say, oh, you're telling me about a templating engine? Why is that so interesting to fast fashion? People have got a very short attention span. So if a page takes less than a second or more than a second to load, if you're like me, I've already disappeared and found something else. So we've made our templating engine as fast as it possibly could be. It's one of the leading templating engines out there for speed, which is going to impact conversions and SEO. Google looks at page speed as one of its indicators for a good site. So we'll be able to rank our fashion sites quite a lot higher than others out there. Our then theme builder, our page builder, if you will, is going all in so that you can start to create each of the components can be a component of a component. So for brands that want to tell that story, you can have a hero banner that's got a product carousel and an FAQ inside of it. So we're taking the composable idea, but not making it composable headless. We're making our components composable so that you can utilize any part of our page builder and our page builder components inside of one another and create some reusable templates. So we know that the fast fashion world, they create these campaigns, don't they? You're going to have a new jumper or hoodie that goes live that's going to be seasonal for March or whatever that might be. We're going to build it so that you can have component templates that can then be reused across seasonality, can be used on subpages, on little category landing pages. It can then even be pushed into TikTok shoppers banners. So that's where our real focus is going to be on. It's the returns, the social proofing, and then our templating and template builder engine.
That's really interesting, actually, the nesting of components, because the standard approach to visual editing is you build a rich set of components with their own sets of logic, but they are independent of each other. They can't be connected. And then therefore you have to build hybrid components in order to get the mix. So yeah, I'm intrigued, but I'd definitely like to see that in action. So there's a follow-up for me afterwards. I'd love to when the time's right to see what that looks like and how it works. That's great. Very interesting. I imagine quite a few people listening will be intrigued to know how they can use that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a real game changer because when I was the hardcore developer, you end up building, like you say, you'll have a hero banner that does 90%, and then you have to build hero banner version 2 that does 100%. You're now maintaining two components. If I could just build a component that did that final 10% and you could compose that into the hero banner, you've just got one component there. You don't need to worry about upgrades, maintainability, and you can reuse it so much. I personally think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, it is. Because one of the challenges you get in e-commerce teams, and this will resonate with a lot of people, is you want to avoid having a specialist third-party CMS to not add extra license fees and complexity and integration costs, and you name it.
Yeah.
Unless you have such advanced distributed content needs, publishing schedules, workflows, stuff where actually you do need that. But at the same time, most visual editors, whilst good, always lack a few factors that then make managing content a bit more challenging. You have to find workarounds, or you have to change how you manage your content. So excellent. I will look forward to I look forward to seeing that when the time is right.
Brilliant. I'll make sure you're the one of the first demos.
Magic. There we go. And James, look, thanks so much for coming on. Really enjoyed listening to that. Anybody who's listening who wants to probe further on anything that James has touched upon in the Shopline product, reach out here. So it's James Cowie on LinkedIn, or his contact details are on our landing page. Look forward to doing the next one on this, James.
Can't wait. And you have a fantastic afternoon.
You're listening to the Inside Commerce podcast, hosted by experienced consultants James Gerd and Paul Rogers. Inside Commerce is your fast track to digital knowledge, featuring interviews with leading e-commerce retailers, industry thought leaders, and the C-suite of key tech companies to explore the latest in digital strategy, customer experience, and tech. Discover what the latest trends really mean and get practical advice based on experience to help fine-tune your e-com strategy and tech stack. Follow us on LinkedIn and reach out to James or Paul if you'd like to discuss an e-commerce project. We hope you enjoy the latest episode.